When thinking of making music, we oftentimes imagine what we actively do, playing instruments, recording vocals, picking the right plugins, and many more things. But a vital skill every musician has is the ability to listen, or rather to actively listen.
Ateez recently released their new album, the World Ep.2 Outlaw, with 6 different yet coherent songs, so we thought it would be a perfect example to demonstrate how we listen to music when we want to learn from it. But what exactly is active listening? Active listening captures being fully present and attentive to what you're hearing. You can practice by listening to a song with a particular goal in mind, such as analyzing the vocal production, the instrument choices, or the songwriting and melodies.
When practicing active listening, it's really important that your surroundings are quiet and that you're focused. You can then start dissecting section by section, and don't hesitate to jump back and re-listen to a section to fully grasp what's going on.
This is exactly what we did with Outlaw. We made a list of various things that stood out to us from each song, so let's dive in.
Lots of elements within this world are, in some sort of form, distorted. This adds to the whole cyberpunk feel of the entire track. At the start, we can hear the filter on the bass slowly opening up, making the distortion especially noticeable. At the same time, we can hear some accenting pit crush percussion, giving it that retro game sound. In the chorus, we can also hear a very distorted bass that gels especially nicely with the synth chords on top.
In the final chorus, they swap out the minor one for a major one, instantly lifting up both the energy as well as giving the chorus an epic feel. This strongly contrasts the minor verses. Fun fact, they do something very similar in New World, which helps tie the whole series together.
In the first chorus, there's a bar of space between the A and the B part. As the A chorus is rather melodic, while the B chorus is chantier but also in double time, the pause builds extra anticipation for the B chorus payoff. The beginning of this world felt very reminiscent of Muse. While we don't know if this was intentional or not, it is a great example of how one can reference a very different style and adapt it to K-pop. Similar to this world, in Dune they also end up swapping out the minor one, which is used in the verse, to a major one in the chorus. But that's not all. In the pre-chorus they also flawlessly go from singing major and minor intervals on top of the E bass note, giving us once again a very nice modal mixture sound. Of course, we can't not note the arrangement choices made once again. The A chorus is quite unique, with stacks of low chanty vocals building tension. We have a subtle pad that for the most part stays on the same note. Remember this, as it is a recurring motif not only in this album, but potentially in the whole series. The B chorus then acts as a release with a very melodic top line.
We have a high melody as the lead vocal and background vocals which move across notes a lot more than the aforementioned pads.
In fact, the vocal production, to no one's surprise, is quite incredible, and here are some notable examples. Right at the end of the pre-chorus, on Door, the lead melody goes down. Simultaneously, the harmony is a counter melody going up.
We already mentioned how the A chorus is supported by layers of chants, while the B chorus is much more melodic, but the chanty feel returns in the bridge.
The final chorus is also rather interesting, as the A part now includes both the low chants from before, but also the high vocals which gradually go up in pitch, building even more tension than before. The final B chorus is now the real culmination of the song, and unlike before, repeats twice, with extra ad-libs, which rides the energy for just a little bit longer. What stood out to us the most about Bouncy was the strong concept. It's a fun song, which is perfect for the summer, yet it perfectly fits their at this point rather dark lore. In fact, the sound of Bouncy encapsulates the sound of the whole album. Bouncy has a tempo of 150 BPM, which is a great choice because you could have a rather energetic feel in it, but you can also slow it down to halftime. They play with this a fair amount in the whole song, and at the end of the song, as is typical for Ateez, go full out with an energetic dance break.
Slow it down, make it bounce. 지금부터 fly. 좀 더 spicy. 청양고추 vibe.
A bunch of other fun elements too, such as the parrot vocal, which is simply Hongjoong's vocal from the A chorus pitched up an octave. The lyrics are quite playful and fun in multiple places.
We also have some fun background vocals.
This is all juxtaposed with some rather dark elements. The intro sounds quite industrial, the bass is strong from the get-go and is supported by rather crunchy super souls. Remember what we said about Dune's A chorus? The synth in the chorus here is also held on one note for almost the entirety of the section, which adds tension, and is also a throwback to Gorilla, the title track of the first World episode. At the end of the chorus, the synth does move on other notes in Phrygian, which is one of the darkest modes.
In the pre-chorus, we can hear a staccato melody. While a lot of melodies play with rhythm by hitting some beats and skipping others, this melody is entirely on beat. It is quite reminiscent of a children's song, giving it a playful vibe. The top line kind of follows that rhythm for the first half of the pre-chorus, while in the second half it splits up more drastically. This contrast, once again, keeps us engaged.
You know what? 이게 바로 여기 루자. 너는 내일을 생각하지 못자. 감당할 수 없을 거라는 며. 우린 오늘만 살아가는 것이야. Pop it like it's hot, 불꽃이 타올래. Show me what you got, 돌기 시작해줄래.
We then have the drop into the chorus, but fun fact, the staccato melody is still here, though in a much more different context. This increases the catchiness of the song.
But this motive appears once more in the final section of the song, when the group members sing an on-beat melody in unison.
Wake Up, especially in the chorus, has an epic feel very reminiscent of New World from the previous album. The B-chorus goes into double time, which is something Ateez have done a lot recently, with Gorilla and Halazia as notable examples. This once again helps the whole series feel coherent despite the plethora of influences we hear throughout the albums.
The A-chorus was rather unusual for a lot of songs. Usually, we have a lead vocal in the middle, processed in a way to make it stand out, and harmonies and background vocals on both sides blending more into the background. Wake Up, however, has multiple layers of vocals which feel a lot more in your face. Likely, they are compressed and on the drier side, making them feel close. These vocals occupy the whole space surrounding us, not just the middle, making us feel surrounded by the chants. This perfectly ties in with the wake up message of the song, as it really makes us feel as if someone is trying to, well, wake us up. One of the melodic layers we hear in the harmony is quite monotonic, however, similarly to the synth in Bouncy, it adds tension.
Outlaw is another fantastic example of how one can commit to the concept. The story of being an outlaw is supported by the ear candy. We hear sirens multiple times, and in the chorus we hear a downlifter which is reminiscent of a grenade. The dance break is chanty, which adds energy both compositionally and as part of the concept of fighting an evil government, i.e. being an outlaw.
We have another interesting chorus here. Two things stood out to us, the melody and the rhythm. When it comes to the chorus melodies, especially during drops, we often expect the melody to hit the root note during the downbeat. However, here it is based around the third, which captures our attention and also adds a slightly unrooted feel to it.
The rhythm is quite interesting too. Usually before drop choruses, we have some empty space where the top line often has some sort of a lead-in. However, if we were to look at the structure of the song, here the lead-in is part of the chorus, which creates a different kind of push and pull and subverts expectations.
Of course, we can't skip over the switch up at the end. We have a key change and a shift in rhythm. The whole section has a sing and dance along feel, which adds to the fun side of the album. The chants, however, are quite dark in energy, reminding us we're still not done with the movement series and making us wonder what comes next. It makes Outlaw a great closing track for the album, similar to how a movie would have an uplifting end scene while still offering enough intrigue for the sequel.
While all songs had their unique elements, there were a few points that you might have noticed came up multiple times. The whole album shows an intricate balance between fun and serious, with each song providing a new sound and point of view.
We hear modal mixture more than once, with Phrygian coming up multiple times. We also go between half and full, or full and double time in many of the songs. All of these approaches appear in older songs from the series, which gives it an overall coherent feel.
Of course, we can't gloss over the sound choices. Similar to the previous parts in the series, we hear a lot of distortion, which is elevated by various cinematic sounds. This gives the whole series a serious and epic feel.
What is your favorite song from Outlaw, and what elements stood out to you? Let us know down in the comments. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and if you would like to work with us, get in touch. Info is in the description below.